Sports Eugene.
Portions of this show are recorded. Strap in and be prepared.
I'm just going to say go to lunch and tell the boss, I'm coming down with something. And then head out to the ballpark for happy hour.
Coming down with duck fever.
Or beaver fever.
Or beaver fever, whichever one.
Interesting guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Coach Mark Waskowski, Melissa Lombardi. Always happy to talk to the great Scopeldamus, Eric Scopel.
Sharp opinions.
This isn't last year. Version 8 is going to be different than version 7, which is different than version 6.
And some smiles.
Also, Dominic Hellman, 2 home runs this weekend.
Mayo.
Yeah, or Hellboy, either one.
The other one. We're going to see which one sticks. We're going to ask him.
Okay.
It's Danny Havel.
I had security on me, immediately. Give us your phone. You can't be filming it. What are you going to glean from filming people bowling right now?
Justin Grossweiner.
Okay, the 6 and 7-year-olds, I got them. I could beat them in a race.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Fox Sports Newport.
Hello, neighbors. Welcome. Hi, atop the Delta Triad, the Crystal Palace. Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport, your home for the Portland Fire, who were en fuego last night. Live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. The Oregon Man Clears Hotline at 541-343-5673. This is the fastest 60 minutes in sports. You can find us on all the socials, Danny and Justin, wherever your platform is for podcasting or music, entertainment. You can listen to our podcast, Danny and Justin, or the fastest 60 minutes in sports. Mustang, Isaac Streeter is going to join us today. We'll talk a little Oregon State baseball. They got past the pesky Portland Pilots last night. And what are their chances for getting inside the number in the RPI? We will explain RPI to you. Yes, satellites were linking up. Computers were whirring. NORAD was alerted. We have the formula. Now, if you can figure it out from there, God bless you. Right over there behind the controls, Blaze. We call him Vegas. I'm Danny. They call me Doc. And to my right, it is the great Justin Grossweiner. Baby J. What a boy.
I'm fired up.
Oh, yeah.
I am fired up after last night.
And we got the NBA Combine on in the studios.
Yeah.
For all you NBA nuts. And I got 2 of them. I'm surrounded. That's a good thing. We got baseball coming up this weekend, a huge series for Oregon against USC. I just told you what USC's road record was, and I think it shocked you, Baby J.
It did shock me.
9-11 away from the friendly confines. They're 32-1 at home. They have not played a neutral site game. And then after this series, it's the Big Ten tournament, and the Ducks looking to stay within that top 4 where they get that all-important bye in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, and then look to improve their RPI to get themselves within the number to host a regional. Super regional, someone's going to have to lose above them on their side of the bracket.
Right.
Melissa Lombardi's team is getting ready for Friday night where they open up their regional against Idaho State. We will have the Mississippi State head softball coach on the program this week.
Yeah,
just
I'm
lock
excited
that
about
up. Yeah, it's going to be cool. So maybe even as early as tomorrow, I think. So we'll find out. Tomorrow or Friday, because they're playing the first game. So that's what we got coming up this week. But we got Isaac today.
We're super excited about the regional, and Mississippi State, they seem like they're going to be a tough out. They're a really good team.
So that's what is in front of us. Like I said, Oregon State won. Oregon women's golf did not work out. Today was a tough day down in Waco, as Oregon is sitting in third place, tied for third. Top 5 teams advanced to the NCAA championships. Ducks were there the last few years. In fact, they were in the semifinals last year. When, of course, Kiara Romero is one of the best amateur golfers in the country. She got herself within the top 5. I think she finished tied for third in the medalist, the individual, but the team slipped today. They shot a 6 over, and they finished in 7th place. So they do not advance, and it's all over. So they'll come home. Kiara Romero will move on in the NCAA championships, but the team will not. So it ends for Derek Radley's squad. Men will start their regional next week, as you told me. I was
Correct.
wrong.
Next Monday.
So we'll have that. But the big news was up in Portland. I was shocked you didn't you weren't staying.
I wasn't tuned in.
Well, you had other things you were
Yeah.
doing, but I mean, you can't clone yourself and be
Right.
like.
I just finished with my workout. I'm back up to, this is pathetic, but back up to benching 140. So I was
You don't
really
have to
stoked about
say
that.
it.
I'm fine with saying it.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I was benching 125 3 weeks ago. So
Okay. All right. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
So you were working out, and I texted
yeah, I was
you.
working out.
I texted you about like whoa.
Yeah. You said like, whoa, fire. And
Well,
I decided,
yeah.
I was like,
And I
oh
set
my
the
goodness.
little fire emoji. Me, old man. I find the emojis and
It's perfect.
So Bridget Carlton had a career high 26 points, 5 3-pointers. Sarah Ashley Barker made a putback just before the buzzer, and Portland beat the New York Liberty Tuesday night for the Portland Fire's first ever franchise victory. So after New York was called for a 3-second violation with 13.8 seconds left, Carlton's 3-point attempt went off the backboard, but Barker battled for the board and put it back before her teammates did a dog pile under the basket in celebration. Carla Leidy added 21.6 assists for Portland, now 1-1 on the season. All 5 starters for New York scored in double figures. Of course, they were missing Sabs, they were missing Satu, so it was not a full strength Liberty team, but still, that is a great win for
Really,
the expansion team.
I mean, just no matter how this season goes, like that just shows right there the potential of Portland basketball on the women's side. And one thing that I thought was really good to see was that the players that were the most impactful for them were those players that they took in the expansion draft. Their first pick, Bridget Carlton. Their second pick, Carla Leidy. Their third pick, Geisel Soder. So, like, those players were really productive for them. And I'm surprised they were able to hang with the Liberty, but here they are. They have some young talent. I think there's plenty of opportunity for this team to fill in the roles, and like that's how teams work. Like they have to have the player that they go to when they need a bucket. Like they need to have like certain things, and I think they're kind of figuring that out right now. They have a lot of opportunity to, I think, at least. So really big win last night. I don't care who was missing from the Liberty. Like I know that it
I was just trying to put it in context, though.
I totally think that's important, but at the same time, I think that it was just a really nice win that you could build on, and you heard that crowd pop when
there was a huge crowd again. They didn't announce the attendance, but it was going to be hard to match the Saturday opening crowd of 19,335 for a Tuesday night game. But New York staying in Portland, they got a night off tonight, and then they play again at Moda Center on Thursday. So the WNBA does this sometimes, especially with the East Coast teams. They'll have them come out if they're only going to play them twice at each place. Portland will do the same thing when they go back to New York. They'll stay, they'll play a couple of games, and they'll do. I mean, it's actually kind of smart, save on travel costs and all that, and doesn't wear the players down.
All right, Mr. Businessman.
Well, listen, man. I mean, there were times where all these teams were playing and flying commercial.
Yeah,
they didn't have charters and stuff, and so if something got screwed up at an airport, you had to factor that in. It was wild. So, Fire off the floor have another Oregon tie. They signed Holly Winterburn, used to be an Oregon guard, so just signed her last night or this morning. So they're going to add her to the roster, shooting guard. I was trying to think back to her Oregon career, and nothing really popped into my head. So, but there's that Oregon connection. Love it.
She played as a freshman back in the Pac-12 days.
So that's why I had to reach back into my
1920.
memories. Okay. So what do you say, 19 and 20?
The 1920, the 2019, 2020 season.
Okay, I was going to say 1920. Say, wow, she's pretty good for 105
she's really old.
years old.
You knew what I meant.
So Sabs will not play again on Thursday night. But she was there. Kelly Graves, the Big Kahuna, was up there as well in attendance. Sabs was rocking her Oregon sweatshirt, and lots of pictures with former coach from college for Sabrina. Was up there in attendance. Obviously, he would be.
Yeah.
I mean, supporting all of it, supporting
and
women's
all the
basketball.
fans that were expecting to see Sabrina and Satu, they got to see a buzzer beater for the first win anyway. So I'm just really happy about the way it's played out.
And they went away happy. So there we go.
Everybody wins except for the Liberty.
Well, and you can hear all of the Fire game right here on the Eugene Fox Sports and Fox Sports Newport. So all the games are right here with AJ Cannell on the call. We need to get AJ on the program here pretty quick.
We will.
Okay, so let's switch to Oregon State real quick. I'm just trying to run through some news and notes here. Carrie Eggers is reporting that the search committee for the new athletic director to replace outgoing Scott Barnes has reportedly whittled down the initial list to 6 to 8 candidates. One of those reportedly being David Saylor. This is an interesting one. He's got ties to Oregon State. He was a former assistant AD at OSU. He's currently the athletic director of Miami of Ohio out of the MAC. So apparently what will happen is that 1 or 2 or 3 finalists will be given to the president of OSU and Scott Barnes, who honestly, in my opinion, should have no say in who the new athletic director would be. Purely my opinion. You know, he shouldn't be in the room like giving recommendations on who to replace him. I'd have never gotten that, but they always do it in college athletics. So we'll find out. This might be named here in the next month or so, I would imagine. So the committee is working through furiously to try and get a new AD. And then we'll be watching northward. So Portland Timbers put 6 into the net against
Sporting KC.
Sporting KC. And now they got Montreal coming to Providence Park, 7 p.m. tonight. So let's see if they can get back to
I think that's the one we have to watch out for. Because I think we kind of all knew that the Timbers were going to put it to Sporting KC. It was one of those, like, I think it would have been more of a story if they didn't.
Yeah.
So now it's really, I think the test is tonight.
Okay.
I think this is really where the rubber meets the road.
Isaac Streeter going to join us in just a few moments. We call him Mustang from the Portland Tribune. He was at the Oregon State-Portland baseball game that was up at Hop Stadium, I believe. So Hillsboro Hops got a college game anyway, even though Oregon State didn't do it. And so we'll talk to him about that. And I would be interested to hear his thoughts on RPI and how Oregon State down the stretch is going to have to, they're going to have to lobby for something because they're going to fall out of that 16. Even if they win the rest of the way, I just hate
the idea that there's a ranking that can fall even if you beat a team like 100-0. Like, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, so you want the formula? You guys want to know what the formula is?
Are you ready for that?
Okay. Everybody sit down. And
it was, by the way, at Goss Stadium.
Oh, it's at Goss?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. Okay. Oh, so Brad's telling me the Timbers are at Montreal. It's a 4:30 start.
Yeah, at Montreal, yeah.
Okay, well, I had it on the notes that it was at 7 p.m. tonight. Okay, so I guess that's what I know. See? Yeah, I was wrong now. This is the 4th time I was wrong today. So baseball RPI was the rating percentage index. Now, it's used for the NCAA, and it formulates road wins 1.3 higher than home wins. You get a home win, it's only figured in at a 0.7. So that's the first part of this. Okay, so you win on the road, you get more than winning at home. Okay, that's the first thing. But now here's how the RPI works. Winning percentage is 25% of the value. Okay? Total wins divided by total games. Opponent's winning percentage, which they call OPW, counts for 50%. That's the average winning percentage.
50%?
50%.
Wow.
The average winning percentage of a team's opponents, but you don't include the games that you play against each other. Okay? Vegas is already, I can see smoke coming out of his ears. Now, the last piece is another 25%, so this makes it 100%. The opponent's winning percentage, which they call OOWP.
Shaking my head.
Okay.
I am shaking my head.
So here we go. So everybody follow along. And again, if you're driving and you're trying to do this in your head, pull off the side of the road. I don't need any accidents. If you have a team record of 30-10, that's a 750 winning percentage. The opponent's record is an even 100 and 100. That's a 500 winning percentage for the opponents. Opponent's record is, say it's 500, 300. That's a 625 OOWP. So here's how you do it. You multiply the 750 winning percentage by 0.25, the 50% winning percentage by 0.5, and the 625 winning percentage by 0.25. And then you add all those together, and that's where you get your RPI.
All right. Well, I mean, I understand that. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but at least now, especially as a sports radio host, I have an idea how to actually calculate it.
So here's the thing, and this is where it was interesting for me, is because the reports came out after the Oregon UCLA series is that series actually was, even though UCLA retained their number one ranking in the RPI, that series was actually worse for UCLA, and now I know why, because a home win does not weight as heavily as a road victory.
Well, so that's why Oregon's one road victory over UCLA was super significant.
It was.
Yeah. So,
but that also means that coming up in this series, the wins over USC
are less significant.
Are going to be less significant if they're in the weighted category.
And I'm guessing that the reason why it matters so much for your RPI, who you're playing, is that opponent's winning percentage. And the opponent's winning percentage, basically.
And so now...
So they're going to do well off of that, even though it's not a away victory. USC has had a good season against...
They're 41-12.
Right, exactly. Their overall record's very good.
Even though they're 9-11 on the road, and that's the one that shocked you.
That is surprising.
11.
A team like that, you would not think is that bad on the road. I mean, that's poor, actually. That's not even just, like, okay. That's, like, not very good at all. Although they do say that you want to win 50% of your road games. Like, that's sort of what you're shooting for, but you're still a little bit under that even. So all I'm saying is that I already felt pretty confident in Oregon coming into this weekend just based off of the stuff we heard from Waz yesterday, which, by the way, if you missed that interview, check it out from yesterday's show on podcast, Danny and Justin, fastest 16 minutes in sports talk. But I mean, it sounds like they get it now. It sounds like they get it. And so coming into this weekend, I was already feeling pretty good. But knowing that USC also has been pretty mediocre at best on the road, I like their chances.
So UCLA, by comparison, is a perfect 16-0 on the road. No surprise there. They still hold the number one rank in the RPI. Southern Cal is number 8 at 41-12, partly because they're 32-1 at home. So that factors into it. Oregon State right now is 17 in the RPI, and it's not going to get better for them.
They can't, right? Mathematically, right?
No, it can't. Because
unless someone else falls.
Well, so the only way it could, and I don't know they don't display what the percentage is or the points are. So I'd have to see where Wake Forest is. So here's the thing with that factoring in your opponent's winning percentage and the opponent's winning percentage. So if the teams that Oregon State played earlier on in the season, they were pretty good and they keep winning, then that could help Oregon State theoretically.
Right.
It would be way too much math for us to figure out. So I'm not gonna get into it. Oregon, by the way, if everyone's asking, they're 20. Oregon is 13-9 on the road. They're 21-4 at PK Park. 2-1 in neutral site games. That was one thing that also jumped out at me. Southern Cal has not played a neutral site game this season, so their first neutral site game will be at the Big Ten tournament in Omaha, which I don't know if it matters. So and that's the other thing. How does that factor? So that's the one thing that was not taken into account on this weighted thing. So all those Big Ten tournament games they have to be zeros. I mean, in terms of or 1.0 or whatever, because they're not weighted because it's not a home or a road game. Wouldn't be.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I just can't help but think about, it's like if we're talking about just like relationships with people, because opponents is like saying like, yeah, my friend's friend did this. Like nobody cares about their friend's friend. I don't care about my opponent's opponent.
Well, that's the way they do it though. So somehow, somebody, some way, sold someone on this.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's too many levels at that point.
There is way too much. I was going to say something else right now, but it came from the league, but I'm not going to repeat it. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, so I'm going to ask, if Isaac's been listening, he's going to know this whole thing. I'm going to ask him how RPI is calculated. I'm not going to try and trick him because we didn't know the other day, and I felt like when we were talking to Tyson, who did not know. It's like, it's one of those things where we have to pay attention to it, but
you just pay attention to the output.
And the number. All right, so a lot of Oregon State talk next with the great Mustang, Isaac Streeter from the Portland Tribune, next on the Danny and Justin radio program. Last part of the program, we're going to get into the promotions announced for Oregon football. Historic in their revelation. And get ready to wind up a home day program here on the Danny and Justin radio show. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinics hotline. Welcome in our good friend. We call him Mustang from the Portland Tribune. Covers both Oregon and Oregon State. and does it in a unique and thorough fashion. It's Isaac Streeter joining us. And by the way, we haven't had you on, or I wasn't here, so we were not able to congratulate. We need to give him a Stingers Up. You guys ready? Stingers up!
Stingers up.
As your baseball team was the one that broke the winning streak that UCLA
Heck
had.
yeah, they were. They almost stole that series too, dude.
They did.
That final game ended.
Yeah.
I had that one on in the press box while I was finishing up an Oregon State game that night and losing my mind. Oh, I was so bummed. But, shout out to Reggie Christensen. That program continues to battle. Very proud to be an alum of that institution, specifically for baseball.
There we go. So I wanted to make sure I started it that way with the feel-good thing. No problem at all, dude. So we just talked about RPI, and we'll get into it with Oregon State here in a moment. So Mitch Canham's squad gets a little body blow with Dax Whitney. And that, I don't know if it thinned out. I mean, obviously, you take Dax Whitney off of any staff, and it's going to have an effect. But it seems like there are some other arms that Mitch Canham has that can step up. So let's just start with last night, the Portland Pilots. We call them the pesky Portland Pilots. Oregon State finally set them down at Goss Stadium. So what's going to be the formula for Mitch Canham's squad as they will sit and wait and see how their RPI fluctuates, because there is still a chance that they can host a regional, but I think that window's closing a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of goes back and forth. I mean, obviously so much is out of their control right now as far as the RPI goes, and playing this Air Force squad is by RPI the third worst opponent they'll have all year, so they're going to lose points just for, taking the field in this series. But good news is that other teams will fluctuate around them. There will be some upward and downward movement that, could kind of help them out. And, I think ultimately we saw it last year. I forget where they ended up in the RPI. Their strength of schedule was better last year, but they're still going to be on the bubble here, sitting around that, 16-ish area. And I think ultimately, the committee could do them a bit of a favor with the seeding ultimately, and especially with Mitch being a Boy Scout about all the RPI stuff and not canceling late season games, where especially given their independent status as a conference, and kind of everyone's missing of Pac-12 baseball. They're kind of the last remnant of it. I could see them still sneaking in there. If anything, it's going to be the 14, 15, or 16. But I don't think the book is totally closed on them yet, even with the RPI just kind of slowly dwindling.
Yeah, and they can still have their opponents win, and then their RPI will go up, right?
Yep. I think they're going to be paying a lot of attention to Big Ten baseball this week, especially given they have wins over Oregon and USC, as well as those Nebraska games will end up meaning a lot for them as well. So,
what about the offense? Do you think they have enough offense?
I think their offense is in a good place right now. This just isn't the team it was last year, where you've got three guys in Gavin Turley, Ivar Arquette, and Wilson Weber, who are just a home run threat at any point, not to mention postseason Trent Carraway, turning into Babe Ruth in that regional last year. But, I think they've got bats, and there are guys getting hot right now. I think of Paul Vasquez, who's, playing Gold Glove defense at third base. I'll shout that one from the rooftops. I think he should win the Gold Glove at third this year. But his bat's steadily coming along. Josh Proctor's gotten himself out of that slump and is, 10 for his last 21, something along those lines. It's been crazy. And AJ Singer is just a hitting machine right now. So I think the offense is doing enough where, I'm an advocate to believe that Oregon State is the best pitching staff in the nation. I was on Twitter chatting about it a couple days ago, but they're so deep. There's so many arms in this pen that can get you outs. And, we saw it last night. Connor Mendez had been pretty brutal to, kind of throughout the year, and had faced this Portland team twice already. And, last night gave his best effort against them, retired 17 in a row. They just have guys. And, I think the offense can give you enough, but the pitching has to be on its best game.
The Portland Tribune's Mustang, Isaac Streeter, joins us on the Danny and Justin radio program. You can follow him on the old Twitterverse, Isaac_Streeter, and it's a good follow, as you can also read everything that he writes at Portland Tribune. So top of that lineup for Mitch Canham's squad with Easton Talton. You mentioned A.J. Singer. It's kind of settled down a bit, and Talton last year was kind of this roller coaster of a player. But has he steadied down this season at that top of the order?
I think he's a bit of a mixed bag right now. I think he's very much a captain of this order. He's getting on base. There's still, some little lapses where clearly he's trying to be a senior who's hitting leadoff for this team and wants to do a lot for them. There's some interesting strikeouts, I think, but ultimately, last night he moved into 7th place in the single season record book for stolen bases. He's very quietly stolen 25 bags this year. Doing a lot of great things for the team, especially when he's on the base paths. I don't think the average or on base are quite what they were last year, but he's doing a lot from an offensive standpoint. Really fun player to watch.
So I know you're going to be here in Eugene this weekend for Oregon and USC. We found out today, and I say we as in Danny told me, and everybody else probably knew this, that USC is only 9-11 on the road this season. And I think that there's a big opportunity for the Ducks here to potentially climb much higher in the RPI, closer to that top 16. But what do you think they need to do this weekend?
Well, and the big thing about USC, too, is they don't have a single Quad 1 win. They are 0-8 in Quad 1 games, and Oregon's a Quad 1 opponent that you're playing at home late in the year. Especially on the short timeline, I'm not sure how both teams went TBA on pitchers. I assume Oregon's going to run Stanford out there on Thursday, kind of keeping him in that game 1 role. I'm not sure how USC is going to approach it on their end, but I think these are very winnable. And ultimately, these are must-win games for Oregon. I think you put yourself in a really good spot with a sweep here. You kind of got to win the series. You got to go 2-1. Otherwise, you're at risk for, with a series loss, dropping into the 5 seed in the conference tournament, which would be brutal for them, especially with, their pitching issues at times. So you really got to take 2 of 3 from this team, and a sweep does you a lot of good.
Right. Nebraska 1 game up in the standings. UCLA has already clinched the Big Ten regular season crown. Nebraska is at 20-7, and USC and Oregon are next. USC at 19-8, Oregon at 18-9, tied for currently now 4th with Purdue at 18-9. But Purdue's got Iowa this weekend. They're 12-15 in Big Ten play. So Purdue could sweep very easily that series. So I wouldn't say it's critical for the sweep, but Oregon's won 21 series, 21 consecutive home series dating back to March of 2024. PK Park's been very friendly to the Ducks, but you can't rely on that. That's where history and streaks can be broken at the worst time. But when we talked to Waz earlier this week, and I don't know when the last time you got a chance to chat with him, man, he was still chewing nails from the weekend, and he wants his team angry. And I think this Ducks team's going to come out with some fire in their eyes. But how do you think a team needs to temper emotion, especially coming into such a big weekend? Because you can get over your skis.
In the last 2 times they've played a team at the top of the Big Ten, they've almost gotten into a bit of a, they got in the shoving match with Nebraska, and then the end of the UCLA series got pretty chippy. I wouldn't expect anything less from this USC game. Oregon really wants to win this game. I think Waz likes it when they're playing that fiery and, kind of plays into it a bit. So, I think they're going to come out guns blazing. They're frustrated after that Friday game. I listened to Waz's press conference from earlier today, and, kind of still seems like it's the same deal. So, I think they're going to come out pretty hot against that USC team. And Mason Edwards is a great pitcher, obviously leading the country in strikeouts. Like I said, I'm not sure if he'll throw Thursday in the game 1 role or on Friday his normal time, which would be the game 2 this week. But, we'll see. Really good opponent. Going to be a great series. Looking forward to it.
Do you think they are a really great opponent? Or, you mentioned no Quad 1 wins. Obviously, they're pretty mediocre at best on the road. Are they just like RPI darlings, or are they actually good?
I think it's a good matchup for Oregon. I'm not sure how good of an actual opponent USC is, but I think it's a good matchup for them, especially with that staff who has guys who can run up the strikeout totals, and an Oregon team that, just hits the ball out of the yard like no one's business. So I think it's a good matchup for them in that perspective. But I am kind of privy to thinking that USC is a bit of a paper tiger. I think Oregon could sweep this one.
Isaac Streeter joining us on the Danny and Justin radio program as we talk Oregon USC big series, which starts tomorrow night. And that's the big change, is that it's not the typical Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and late starts, 7:05 tomorrow night and 6:05 on Friday night before the 3:05 first pitch on Saturday at PK Park as USC comes to town in the last regular season series of the Big Ten season, and then they head to Omaha for the Big Ten tournament. So, Isaac, how has Mark Wasikowski's pitching rotation and staff matured over the season? A first year under pitching coach Matt Fleur as Hawk goes to Oklahoma State. So there have been a lot of changes in that and behind the scenes, but it seems like the pitching staff is, again, I'm trying to put my finger on how successful they can be. It can't just be desire. It's got to be results. So what's your assessment of the staff as they've gone through the season?
Yeah, I think this is the best bullpen that Waz has assembled in his time here. I think I might still give kind of the edge to that rotation last year. I think of how good Jason Wrights was late in the year. Will Stanford looks like a different player this year. He still had some hiccups here or there, but I think he's been mostly sharp. UCLA got into him a bit last week, kind of with how that game played out, not his best stuff. But I think it's a good staff. I'm worried. I wrote after that series, kind of like I'll believe it when I see it, when this team doesn't, the bullpen doesn't blow up. They gave up 11 runs in 10 2/3 to UCLA.
Yeah.
So there's still, a lot of teams do that against UCLA. That team's stacked. But I still have the concerns about that team. I think you need really deep starts to feel super comfortable with it. Cal Scolari's been a really interesting addition to the bullpen. Obviously, kind of opened the year as the Sunday starter and is now pitching out of the pen. I think that gives them a super big edge. Tanner Bradley is a first-team All-American, in my opinion. That kid's been so good in long relief, closing, the emergency fireman role for them. He's been so sharp. Obviously got touched up a little bit by UCLA, like we talked about, but really, really, really good arm for them. I think they have the pieces. It's just kind of a matter of like which version of them are you getting? Are you getting the one that, gives up late inning grand slams to UCLA to, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in a sense, or are you getting the one that's can be super nails and, blank Oregon State for as many innings as they did a couple of weeks ago?
Are you expecting any major changes to the lineup, or do you think they've kind of settled in at this point where they've got Braden Jackson kind of playing whatever they need to play him? Obviously, they have got Berkeley back there at catcher. So do you think this lineup's kind of going to be what it is? Like it was kind of pretty similar all three games against UCLA, or do you expect any major changes?
I'm interested to see what's going on with Jax Jimenez. Hasn't been in the lineup in a couple weeks after, he's played a really exceptional left field and has gotten on base a lot. I think the hitting has slowed down, but he hasn't been in there. Brian Cooney has been struggling lately. I think last I checked, it was like 5 for his last 30 after like flirting with the program single season hits record for a minute. So I wouldn't expect a ton of lineup changes, but there are guys to keep an eye on. Jax has been stellar. So is Junior Milwaukee at the bottom of that lineup. But no, wouldn't expect a ton of major changes, but I am curious to see kind of how guys play out in their roles.
USC number 17 in the country in terms of the rankings, number 8 in the RPI, come in with a 41-12 record. Oregon 36-14, one game behind USC in the Big Ten standings. By the way, the Ducks can finish as high as second in next week's Big Ten tournament based on this weekend, or as low as the number 6 seed, according to how everything would play out. If they do sweep the Trojans, they are guaranteed no worse than the 3rd seed. And if you take a look at the season series, they won the season series against Nebraska, so they win the tiebreaker there. They won the season series against Purdue, so any ties between those teams go to Oregon. So that's where some of the advantage is. Let's talk about Dom Hellman and his bat. And Justin touched on it with trying to get some at-bats for Braden Jackson and where the guys kind of shuffle in and out of the lineup. So you've got Gabe Miranda as well, and he's kind of disappeared a little bit in some aspects. I don't know why. But we asked Waz about trying to get guys in positions, and he doesn't feel like there's a lot of moving parts that he needs to worry about. What's your assessment?
I think there's some pretty serious platoon risk with Angel Laya in right field. This came to my mind as you were talking about the lineup changes, but I wouldn't be shocked if he can't hit a lefty right now. I mean, he's been incredible. He still has some pop against lefties, but I really wouldn't be surprised if he's not in the lineup against Mason Edwards, their lefty starter, just because it hasn't really worked out for him in that regard. I'm curious to see how that plays out. They might just stick with their guns and run him out there, but that's one I look at. And, Dom has kind of fallen off. I think he's just a little beat up right now. Kind of has been a running theme throughout his career. And Milwaukee's just kind of outperforming him. They kind of do the same job. They're both big righty mashers who you want in the DH role. Dom can give you starts at first if you really want two big righties in that lineup. But, Milwaukee's done his job and held that down. Jax has given you some super valuable stuff with his utility. Yeah, sorry, I lost track. Can you repeat your question?
No, I was just so Waz. No, and you were on the track there. Is that we asked Waz about do you have kind of your lineup set, because we were throwing out some names that were, to your verbiage, platooned, like Dom for Gabe or Brady, moving back from first base or then behind the dish because you got to get at bats for Berkeley Mabius. But it seemed like Waz said, yeah, you know what? Everybody's not really fighting for a job. We kind of know where everybody's going to go, but there seems to be some drop off with some of the players you mentioned. So I just wanted your assessment. I think you did it pretty well.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there are the platoon advantages there, and it's pretty clear. Like, they want Jaxa in the lineup every day right now. It's just a matter of if it's in left field or kind of at first. Burke is very clearly their catcher right now, and he's a rock back there. So, kind of slotting him into the lineup based on handedness splits and platoons, kind of he'll be in left field if they want to get Dom in there or Miranda, et cetera, et cetera. But, yeah, it does kind of seem like it's pretty established. Those are interesting comments from Waz, I think, just because of, randomly Tyler Jones is starting in left field for you for 2 games at Washington. Not really sure what was going on with that beyond injuries, but, kind of it seems like the lineup's fairly set. They're really comfortable with the guys they can run out there.
And baseball, as much as any sport, I think, is about peaking at the right time. Last weekend, I don't know if you could make the argument that they were peaking. They didn't quite finish that last game off, but big opportunity here. Do you think there's still enough time in the season to kind of peak and get to that position where you're playing your best baseball at the right time?
If there is, it's right now. I mean, this is the time to get hot. These are games you got to win if you want to, get yourself into the tournament in the spot you want to be in, and really performing this weekend against USC kind of drives that bus for you.
All right. So, the last biggest question for you, Isaac, is what's your go-to in the press box in terms of food?
Oh, it's tough. Normally, my girlfriend won't like me saying this one, but Zins and energy drinks are kind of the go-to food. I'm a big sunflower seeds guy.
Okay.
We'll throw down on a bag of those. The PK Park chicken tenders and waffle fries are often a temptation of mine. We'll see if I get into any of that nonsense this weekend, but not much of a food guy when I'm up there. I'm writing a lot. I'm writing a lot during the game. I don't like having stuff in my hands, kind of all that. But I am a drive-through fiend after games. The McDonald's drive-through down the street from me hates to see me coming at 11 p.m. after a game. But, kind of the sunflower seeds and energy drinks, those are kind of the go-to. Sometimes a cold brew. All
right, attaboy. All right, good for you. All right, well, we look forward to seeing you this weekend. I think I'll be there on Saturday with the fam and such. So we'll go look up Skyward and we'll wave. So cover it well. You do it always for the Portland Tribune. We enjoy reading it, and we enjoy having you on the program and making us smarter, man.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you. There he goes, Isaac Streeter, at Isaac_Streeter, Portland Tribune. All right, so
what a guy.
We didn't get into it with him, Major League Baseball. I was going to say, we let him go without that. That'll be for next time.
I don't know if we're in a position for that.
Well,
right
that's
now.
what I say. We're smarting after the Cubs got beat by the Braves last night, so we'll see what happens in another couple of weeks. When we come back, promotions within the Oregon football program. We'll talk about those next on the Danny and Justin radio program. If you missed any of the interview with the great Mustang, Isaac Streeter, head to the podcast, Danny and Justin, or the fastest 60 minutes, whatever platform you're on, whether it's Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Apple, Podverse, another one that comes up a lot. So we're there. Danny and Justin, just search for it under the podcast slot on your platform. They just announced in the end, I don't want to, well, I'm going to take care of this stuff with Oregon football first, and then we're going to talk a little NFL football, and then we're going to talk college football playoff. Okay,
playoff?
Boys? So I know you're distracted by the NBA Combine game, both of you.
Just during the breaks. Just during the breaks.
It's just interesting listening to your a discussion between you and Vegas when we're off the air. Oregon head football coach Dan Lanning has announced a pair of promotions ahead of this season. Tyler Dean is going to be the GM now for Oregon football, and Lydia Gibbs, the assistant GM. Lydia Gibbs, the first ever female assistant general manager in college football. They've both been with Dan Lanning's staff, the inaugural staff, since 2022. Dean's been working as the director of player personnel. He was elevated to director of scouting last year. Gibbs has been the director of on-campus recruiting since arriving in Eugene. Basically what she does, she takes all the families around on campus, answers all their questions. Shows
Very
them.
important.
It is. So I got a chance to interview both of these individuals at one of the O Club events earlier this year, and wildly impressed by both of them. And you know who Tyler Dean is married to?
Isn't it somebody that we have on our program?
The Rifle.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Aaron Slindy.
I didn't want to just spit out a name, but yes, that's exactly who I was thinking about.
Yeah. So he's got game in the office and he's got game off the field, if I could say so. He got to, man. Hey, listen, Aaron's awesome. And Tyler's also
Aaron's great.
She's great. So Dean joined the Ducks in 2022. He was at Texas A&M. He graduated from Rhodes College. Gibbs was a recruiting intern at Georgia through 2019 from 17 to 19. And that's where she crossed paths with Dan Lanning. She graduated from Georgia in 2019 and then came to the Ducks in 2022 as the Ducks director of on-campus recruiting. She's also held internships at the NFL Women's Forum and Kansas City Chiefs.
Now, do you know if this is general managing, like managing the actual roster, or is this like
whatever a GM does?
Like,
so
like literal general managing?
Oh, it's just like a general manager. So I mean, you're going to be managing the dollars. You're going to be managing, who's getting paid what, and just like what a general manager would do in professional sports.
Right, but there is a distinction between, like, say, The Godfather, what he does, and then in Major League Baseball, general managing.
Yeah, no, not like the game day general management of no. There's a whole other team for that.
Correct.
So
that's what I was trying to clarify.
Those are other full-time jobs, basically.
Oh, yeah, everything's a full-time job.
All right, so do you guys see this ridiculousness that the NFL's doing now?
About the international games?
No. The Green Bay Packers will be at the Los Angeles Rams, and they're going to play this game on a Wednesday night of Thanksgiving week.
I did see this. And this is the first one, right?
Yes. What are they doing?
They just want football every day of the week.
Oh, my
Do we have football every day
gracious.
of the week now?
Well, it almost will be that week because you're going to have Monday night football.
So no
Tuesday will be
right?
off. Then you're going to have Wednesday and Thursday, and then you're going to have Sunday.
I think they're going to do Tuesday and Friday at some point. I seriously think they want a game every day of the week. I don't like the way that it works for the schedules.
That's what I don't like.
Yeah, no, it definitely does not help. I mean, it either gives you a mini bye or a short week. I mean, there's some benefit to it on both sides in some ways. I also let's see. So this is going to be on Netflix as well.
Yeah, yay.
Not
for
the biggest fan of that.
Netflix was bad with their production value.
Have they done anything since the MLB opening night? Yeah, I think that'll be interesting because MLB opening night, I don't think people received it very well. I mean, I don't think it was an impressive broadcast in terms of they didn't understand the feel. Like having Bert Kreischer out there like screaming and yelling. It's like this is baseball. Like this is I think just not the right vibe for that. So I will be interested to see how they do NFL, and they have done NFL stuff before. So maybe they're a little bit more in tune with that.
Well, you got to have both these teams with their buys. I haven't looked at their overall schedule. They have to have buys the week before. They both have to have buys. You're not going to have them turning around, playing a Sunday game, and then playing a game on Wednesday. That's not going to happen.
They might, though. I mean, unless they.
Let's look at the schedule. I'm going to pull the schedules out. All right, Vegas, you can chime in here. You have any thoughts on this, or are you just like Switzerland over there? Other guy, I don't care.
I'm happy about it just because it gives me another day to watch football, like you said. But, I mean, they have actually had games on Friday as well for Black Friday. So Tuesday is the only day ever that they've never had an
NFL game?
Never NFL
No
game.
Super Bowl on a Tuesday? I guess it's always on a Sunday.
Every other day they've had an NFL game on. But it's just the platforms being greedy and wanting, have as many platforms as possible and just all the consumers. So not to get into the consumerism aspect of it, but it's just ridiculous.
Money talks. Yeah. I mean, they get more money and they're going to do it. I think that it doesn't hurt it doesn't help the product. I think at some point that you're choosing money over what actually the viewer experiences.
Well, they haven't actually announced all the dates for the schedules yet, except for the TV games.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought they did. Yeah.
So they have to. I'm sorry, but they must have both these teams. So you know what the bye weeks are going to be for both these teams.
But then you're going to have two teams that are not playing games for like 10 days.
Yeah. And near the end of the season, which I think is an advantage.
It can
for both
be.
those squads.
Sometimes it can be, and sometimes it's not, because you see a team that they want to keep playing, they got some momentum, and other times they're just banged up and they have so many injuries.
By that time of the year, most everybody's banged up.
I think you want a late bye usually.
Yeah. So staying on football, I know you guys talked about it last week about what the AFCA came out and in support of a 24-team expanded college football playoff format. And if you haven't, we're going to discuss it a little bit now. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips has come out publicly now.
Yeah, what a surprise.
And said that he supports the 24-team expanded college football playoff. The Big Ten initially, now remember, Big Ten initially proposed this model.
Mm-hmm.
SEC did not like it. And then that's where the discussions came as well. Okay, well, Big Ten and SEC are just going to break off and do their own thing, have their own tournament.
The Big 12, I thought they had agreed to it as well. Am I imagining that?
I don't think the Big 12 has come out and said anything because they didn't like the way, I think, some of it with the Power Four was going to lay out in terms of who was going to get automatic bids, because obviously as well, the Big Ten and the SEC were like, well, you know what? If we're going to do 24 teams, then we're guaranteed 8 slots each.
I know. It's ridiculous.
And that's where it flamed out immediately.
Those are the two best conferences. I'm not surprised that the ACC is going like, all right, 24, yeah, like we'll take some more options to get in. But I do think that that's exactly what they'll do. They'll probably just put more Big Ten and SEC teams in.
You know who's come out against it? Guess. Just take one quick guess.
Wait, is it?
Come on, it's a coach.
Is it one school? Okay, it's a coach.
It's a coach. And a very vocal coach. And Mario Cristobal has come out vehemently against.
Wow.
He would rather finish. He said he would rather finish the regular season earlier, have 1 week of bye, and then start playoff games. He says he's not for the 24-team thing. Why play a regular season then? He says he's certainly not in for automatic bids. It's not a beauty pageant. I'm just reading the quotes from an interview with ESPN's Kevin Clark. Of course, I don't know if he'd win any beauty contest.
I don't disagree with those points, honestly.
Go win on the field. Guys that deserve it, get in, figure it out from there.
Also very easy for them to say after sneaking into the playoff last year. That's why I think at the ACC, it's like, okay, ACC, like the timing of this is a
bit of irony there.
Yeah.
It's coming
timing
from Mario
is everything here.
So, honestly, and I've always said this since the start of it, is that every other division of football has an expanded playoff. This is the only segment of football. They've figured it all out. The biggest thing that's been stopping this are the bowl games. That is the biggest thing that's stopping this. The TV contracts, the local infrastructure for all the charities that support bowl games and stuff like that. You rip all that out of the equation, and that's where you're going to have a bunch of blowback.
Yeah, college football is broken. No surprise.
Yeah, shocking, I say.
A joke!
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes!
What kind of books do oranges read? What kind of books do oranges read?
Citrusy? I don't know.
You're on the right track.
I feel like it sounds like something like that.
Pulp fiction.
Pulp fiction. I like that. It's pretty good. That's better than average.
Okay.
Better than the average joke.
I like it. Yeah, so we start
Great
with the
movie
middle of the
too,
week.
by the way. The movie my mom watched before the day I was born.
Pulp, is that help her induce labor?
It was not. It was a. It was planned.
Oh,
I was C-section. So
okay.
We'll leave it
all
with
the little background stories we learned about that. I got nothing to say. I got nothing to say about that. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have some coaches with us as well on the Danny and Justin radio program as we get ready for a big weekend in Eugene. Put a smile on your face. Someone else's. They deserve it. So do you. God bless. Thanks for listening. Peace.